Everyone, welcome to another episode of Bus Stop Boys. I'm Zach,
And I'm Zahran.
and we're back with our top 10 for 2025.
Hell yeah. It's been a while, Zach. It's been a while.
You're a person who's hard to get, man. Like, should we charge for this content? Like, this is exclusive. We actually are recording again.
Yes, it's been way too long, but you know what? We're coming back with a bang. Season 3, we're ready to go.
Wow.
2026. So we're starting off with our top 10. But before we start off with our top 10, what are we starting with, Zach?
We're doing our biggest disappointments.
Yes, yes. And many disappointments we do have. Zach, you want to start us off?
I would say for me, there's two movies that come up as disappointments. I think
Mm-hmm.
these are movies where the director's super talented, in fact, made like a genre defining movie. But then they got a lot of cash for this movie or last year's movie, and it just didn't quite go as planned. And so those
Mm-hmm.
two movies for me are Mickey 17 and The Materialists. And Mickey 17, it's not a bad movie. It's totally fine. Robert Pattinson is obviously really good. So they're good actors and actresses in this movie. Tony Collette and Mark Ruffalo play pretty good bad guys in this film. It's just like a lot of this movie is like CGI. Like a lot of it was just like in this like weird like ice world. I think in outer space. There's a couple of good scenes. There's one good scene where Robert Pattinson's like confronting the bad guys and this kind of like weird, strange dinner scene. And when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to like this director, like weird and strange is good. Like we want more of the weird and strange. And then also the climax had some good action shots, but besides that, it just wasn't like super memorable. So I think that's gotta be a disappointment, especially since Parasite is like one of the best genres, like one of the best movies of the past decade. So to go from that to this, just felt like a letdown.
I 100% agree with you. I think one of the best movies we both ever watched was Parasite in theaters at Kabuki,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I think that was one of like the best. I think he's such a great director when it comes to like pure human emotion, and it felt like it was completely lacking in this movie. It felt like a very, I don't know if it's like a language barrier or something like that because his like Korean movies are so good, and then you see like Okja and Mickey 17, and although they're not bad movies, like this is like I want to clarify and say these are the most disappointing movies of the year, not really like the worst movies. It just
Yeah.
feels like there's some disconnect with him when it comes to like Hollywood movies, and I hope he's able to break through. But he's still knocking it out of the park on the Korean movie side.
Yeah, 100%. Snowpiercer is like not bad either. Like there's a whole TV show that came from it as well, but it's not the same tier as like Parasite. That's like a good movie. And then the other
Mhm.
movie I think that was disappointing to me was The Materialist from Celine Song. And so I love Past Lives. I thought it was a number two movie of 2023, whatever year it came out. It was definitely a big deal and really good dramatic, romantic drama. Laughed a lot in that movie too. This one has a lot more star powers. So again, she has a lot more budget, and there's like Pedro Pascal, there's Dakota Johnson, there's Chris Evans, but it just isn't as airtight. It just isn't as funny. So um, I have to give it a thumbs down and call it disappointing. It should be interesting because apparently Celine Song was a real life matchmaker, so she's drawing from like real life experience to make this movie, but it just wasn't quite as tight as Past Lives.
I feel like outside of the story, everything is so top notch. The cinematography is beautiful. There's one
Yep, that's
standout
true.
scene. I think it's like Pedro Pascal on one side of the table and uh, the actress. Why am I forgetting
Dakota
her name?
Johnson, yeah.
Dakota Johnson on the other side, and you see like how they use cinematography to show the disconnect they're starting to have slowly and slowly. I don't know if like they're changing like the the framing, but it felt like the table was just getting longer and longer as they were slowly zooming out. So and of course like she really brought out the best of those actors and actresses, Dakota Johnson, Chris
Yeah.
Evans, and like Pedro Pascal. They did A+ acting jobs.
It's like a classic story of like, oh, do I choose the rich guy or the poor guy I love?
Hmm.
The problem with choosing a classic story is like you gotta do really well, give it your own twist. And Past Lives was 100% Celine's own twist on the story. Like looking back on Past Love, looking across cultures, that was super unique. So I feel like there wasn't quite that same magic or twist in this movie, and that's part of the problem.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Um, I think this is a good segue. For me, one of my most disappointing movies of the year was F1.
Dang! Wow. Okay. Hot
Yep.
take.
Yep. Not a bad movie. I have to
Yeah.
preface this. It's not a bad movie. I would even it could possibly even be in my like top 15 movies of the year for sure. It felt like it was kind of a rehash of Top Gun Maverick, but not executed as well. I will say the action, the like how close it was to like the F1 experience was very well done. But the story is just so weak and it's so generic that I just couldn't get over that. One of the biggest tropes is like the rookie. He's in like all the science gear. He's doing like virtual simulations and like watching his body temperature or oxygen levels, like looking at everything, getting like the best of the best treatment. Meanwhile, Brad Pitt's character has like a tennis ball, like, for hand-eye coordination, and he's just running around the laps. That scene alone describes the entire movie for you about where this movie's going. I love Top Gun Maverick, and it was very disappointing not to see a little more originality. And I don't know if it's because I didn't watch it in theaters. I feel like that's a huge portion of why it's so disappointing to me. Maybe if I watched it in IMAX, something would have changed. But yeah, when I watched it, uh, it just felt like a made for TV movie at some points too. That might be a
Wow.
huge hot take. Again, probably should have watched it in IMAX or Dolby or something like that to really give that oomph.
One thing I really liked about this movie is learning about F1. So I didn't really know much about F1. And if you don't know much about F1, I think it was like a TV show. Is that Top Gear that talks a lot about F1? Um, but anyways, like
Right to
I've never.
Survive, maybe.
Yeah, maybe it's that one. It's on Netflix, maybe.
Yes, yes, yes. Right to
Okay,
Survive.
cool, cool. I haven't seen that. So a lot of people learned about F1 through that TV show. But if you want like a quick condensed like version like of that show to give you like this one the basics, this is a pretty good intro to F1. Like there are like there are different brands that sponsor different cars. They build these cars in order to like make innovations for the cars and just see what happens. It's like marketing. But then also there's like a weird thing where like your biggest competitor might be your own teammates, and that's what this movie is about. It's like the Brad Pitt character versus the Damon Idris character. They're both on the same team, but they're also competing against each other, which is kind of unique to F1, I learned. So I thought that was super interesting. You
Hmm.
mentioned the innovative camera work, putting the camera on the car. It looks really good. In the theater, obviously looks good. Like I think it also could look good in a smaller screen as well. And there are some pretty good moments of rivalry between the Brad Pitt character and the younger character. There
Hmm.
aren't enough of them, I would say. So like maybe that's a minus. And also Brad Pitt is like it's kind of old at this point. So like when you're watching the movie, it's like I don't know how plausible this is whatsoever. Like why would someone this old like get back into like racing? That just doesn't seem right. I mean, Brad Pitt must be like well in his 50s, so he's like well beyond like Tom Brady's age range. So I
Hmm.
think that's like a minus, but otherwise, I had a pretty good time. I mean, it's always fun to watch Brad Pitt like in a movie. I think you mentioned it felt like a made-for-TV movie. Like me seeing Brad Pitt makes the movie feel like, oh, this should be in theaters because that's not someone who does a lot of television if he does it at all. So yeah, I was just looking at my list. I have it number 12 overall for the
Okay.
year. So not a top 10 movie, but I thought it was a pretty good popcorn flick.
Yeah, to be honest, I think it's also around my top 15 ish. From
Yeah,
what I have it, I gave it a 3.5 stars on Letterbox. It's not that it's a bad movie at all. I think my expectations were just extremely high. Um,
true.
Speaking of extremely high expectations, Mission Impossible: Final Reckoning, not even on my top 15.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I didn't even watch it.
Just felt like a retread. I think honestly, Fallout might be my finale for Mission Impossible. The one
Word.
with Henry Cavill, Rebecca Ferguson, like the entire squad. They even brought back Michelle Moynihan. Like, I feel like that was a true like movie that really combined all the eras of Mission Impossible together and gave it a solid ending where he says goodbye to the old love, finds the new one who's also a spy, better fit for him. So it just felt like a good ending for Ethan. This movie, I think Final Reckoning and Dead Reckoning right before it, I don't think they're not that great to be honest, comparatively.
That's a good take. I mean, I didn't even watch it. And yeah, that's a rare franchise where like it's making so much money that like it probably should have stopped like a couple movies ago, but just it just kept going. I don't think this movie did as well as the last one, so I guess they got the message, and there probably won't be another one. So
Even the last one had some red flags, especially box office wise and review
yeah,
wise. It got like very middle of the road reviews, and
yeah,
the box office started to go down. But this one did horrendously, for sure.
it was one of the most expensive movies ever made, so it had to do Avatar numbers, and it definitely did not do that.
Yeah. Speaking of disappointments, Avatar. No, no,
Oh
I mean,
well.
to be, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Getting ahead of myself. Wicked 2, though, was very disappointing for me as well. As
Dang,
someone
that's crazy. So I didn't watch that movie either.
really, oh, I mean,
Yeah,
it's not bad.
yeah.
You didn't miss much.
Okay, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
My wife did warn me that the second part is a lot weaker than the first part, and I went in blind with both movies. I did kind of go in blind with, but I really enjoyed Wicked One. I love the music in it. So that's the second half. It just it feels rushed but slow at the same time. The musical
Mhm.
numbers just don't hit as hard as the first one does. There's no defying gravity in here at all. It just felt like they were going like nudge nudge. Hey, remember him from Wizard of Oz? Look at him now. Look how different we made him. That's just how it felt like.
Yeah.
So yeah, it for a finale and for how hyped it was, I was very disappointing. And you can see because it got nominated for so many Oscars last time, and I don't think they got a single one this year. Correct me if I'm
It's a
wrong.
pretty crazy drop off. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
And yeah, and even if you're like a fan of the musical, that was always a question about the second movie because everyone knew all the good songs were in the first half. So like, I think there was a lot of question about, oh, would they make up some really good new songs or do something else crazy to make the second one better? Because people who were like in the know, I've seen Wicked the musical twice on Broadway. It's like one of my favorite musicals, and like there was always a question of, cool, like what are you going to do in the second half? Because musically it just isn't as strong. So it sounds like they weren't really able to find a replacement for the good music because the first one, the music is just so strong.
Do you want to get a little more positive, or do you got anything else?
Let's talk about honorable mentions.
Yes, let's do it.
Sweet. Actually, speaking of Avatar, I have two honorable mentions that I think are like not bad movies. They just need to like redo their second halves to like be good. Like maybe even be top 10 contenders. So maybe in between like disappointments and like the top 10. There's two movies that are House of Dynamite and Avatar. So I'll
Wait,
do
what was the
House of
first one?
Dynamite first.
Oh,
House of
House of Dynamite.
Dynamite.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's a really interesting movie on Netflix, directed by Catherine Bigelow, who's done The Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30. So definitely a lot of pedigree behind the camera. And it's about a nuclear warhead, we think, heading towards Chicago. And the way it plays out is like you see a timer, it's like time till impact, and everyone in DC is like scrambling what to do. There's I forget the name. There's like a command center in Nebraska that tracks like nuclear weapons and whatnot. So they're also involved. There's also people in Seattle or Alaska who are trying to intercept the missile, which is obviously very difficult to do. But then the timer runs out, and you're like, wait, the movie's just starting, and then like restarts the timer and gives the movie from a different point of view. Totally fine. It's just instead of doing that three times, if they had just let the clock run out and let a talented screenwriter or screenwriting room figure out what to do, like maybe like it wasn't actually a nuclear bomb, maybe it like doesn't detonate, and then okay, then like it was a decoy. Why was it a decoy? Who sent it? There's so many interesting things you could have like ripped off of if they had just kept going with the story instead of stopping right there before the missile actually hits America. It's definitely a lost opportunity. That said, it's not a bad movie. I don't want to. People are saying it's like awful. Like I wouldn't say that. It's just like you get a lot of good stuff in this movie. They just should have like not done the repeat like the time over and over again. And then with Avatar, we've spoken about it
Oh, wait,
personally.
let's talk about that one a little later.
Yeah, okay. Let's time out. Yeah, good call.
I love how your two honorable mentions are uh, ex ex couples, Catherine Bigelow and James Cameron.
Oh wow, good catch. I didn't catch that. Wow, very cool.
Do you have any more honorable mentions?
Yeah, I do. I have like two more.
Gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. But you go ahead. Go off.
Oh, I have a few. I have Eddington there, but I feel like we're going to talk about that later.
Yeah, true. Good catch.
I have Elio. I really enjoyed Elio.
Wow, I didn't watch that. Okay, was
It,
it good?
yeah,
I was
and
so
no one else
salty
did. No
because.
one else did.
Oh, okay, I see. I see.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We'll talk about it during the draft later.
Yeah, no, no. I was just gonna say like I'm salty because I chose it really high in the draft because I was like Pixar like never misses, and then maybe they can't do original IP anymore. We should talk about it during the drafts. But yes, I'm glad you liked it, but no one else saw it.
Honestly
Cool.
think it's the name of the movie. I think it's that. It's
Wow,
like Elio. It doesn't tell you what it's about. You know. I mean, yeah, I know Coco is also there, and
that's interesting.
Luca. It's just a beautiful story about like the son who loses his parents, his aunt's raising him. He finds he uses like a ham radio and is able to make alien contact, and shenanigans ensue. He becomes friends with one dictator spaceship alien's son, and then they bond, and that's like the first friend he's ever had. It was just a beautiful story. Goes into like adoption and like your aunt raising you, making friends and all that. Like very, and also just like bringing the world together, which felt like kind of important now with how things are going in the world. Another one is Bring Her Back. I put it in my most disappointing summer blockbusters, but that was only because I had such high expectations. But I gave it a rewatch recently, and man, it's just so well done that if I don't couple it with Talk to Me, it and I watch Bring Her Back just as a movie on itself, it is an incredibly scary movie. It's incredibly gruesome, and it knocks it out of the park. I think they're the Philippou brothers. I forgot. I don't know how to exactly say their names. Michael and Danny Philippou from Australia.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember you brought that up in the summer blockbusters
Hmm.
episode. So
Hmm.
that's cool that like a second viewing caused you to like shift your perspective on it.
Yep. Another one I have is Fantastic Four. It wasn't top 10 material, but I did enjoy it. The first half was very good. I think it's very similar to Avatar, where the first half's very good, and then the second half is very disappointing. Um, you know, so maybe it's like borderline honorable mention slash disappointing.
Yeah, I definitely felt that way about House of Dynamite.
Hmm. Hmm.
Other honorable mentions I had F1 honorable mention, fun popcorn movie. Another one that's a fun popcorn movie is Caught Stealing, which is a Darren Aronofsky movie with has Austin Butler in it. It's a New York City story. This guy, yeah, it's like almost the details are not important. Gets into shenanigans with a bunch of different people and communities within New York City. So I thought it was pretty fun. It's not like the best Darren Aronofsky movie. It's not the best version of like this kind of like mystery drama movie. I think like Mario Supreme is like a better version of this movie, for example. But it's fun. Like for a popcorn flick, it's pretty good. I'll give it an honorable mention. And then also like the real honorable mention, which I don't know if like as many people saw, was Predator Badlands, which is like an action movie that came out. Okay, you saw it. You're gonna talk about it later, or can I talk about it real quick?
You gotta talk about
Okay,
it.
cool. So
Yeah.
yeah. So like I'm not super deep into like the Alien or Predator franchise or line of movies, but this was kind of a surprise for me this year. The story follows a young predator named Deck who has to go to this planet of monsters to prove himself by killing like the apex predator. And then I think what makes it like elevates it a little bit, like along the way, he counters a like Cortana like character played by Elle Fanning, who's kind of like our POV character who's like explain things and she has her own like story and character development. And so, yeah, I thought there's some really good choreographed action scenes and a really good message as well. It's a Disney movie at the end of the day. And so, yeah, I like that surprise. So I'll give it an honorable mention.
Yeah, I also watched this in theaters. It's a great movie. I think Dan Trachtenberg has
Yeah.
really revived both uh, has really done well to revive like the Predator franchise. He did Prey on Hulu.
Yeah.
He did an animated show as well, and then he did Predator Badlands. Like he's just knocking it out of the park. And then Alien Earth is also doing well. So it's very cool to see like a revival. And I think we got our, brain dead popcorn AVP movies out of it. And it's very
Yeah.
cool to see like, them being executed a lot better now. Yeah, great movie. I agree with both of your takes. I also watched the Darren Aronofsky one.
Yeah.
Um, I honestly might have put that in my most disappointed, but not because it's a bad movie. It's just when I watch Darren Aronofsky movies, I feel like I need to watch something fucked up. And it's definitely a great movie. I will. I think I gave it 3 stars on Letterbox. So yeah, definitely not a bad movie there.
Yeah, that's totally fair. I personally have accepted that Darren Aronofsky's best movies are now like 10 years in the past, and like whatever he makes now is like whatever. This does feel more like a Guy Pearce movie or like a Robert Downey
Yes,
Jr. kind of movie that he
Kiss
would
Kiss Bang
do.
Bang.
Yeah. Exactly. So it's more like in that vein than like Darren Aronofsky's own movies, which are more like horror thriller kind of films. Um, and yeah, when you view it from that lens, like, yeah, this is not at all on the same level as Black Swan. It's more just like an action flick that with Austin Butler in it. So yeah, he's been doing like some random things here and there, and then occasionally coming back to regular movies with things like Caught Stealing.
Nice.
Is it time for a top 10?
I think it's time. Wait, I'm just gonna quickly see if I have anything
Yeah,
to
sure,
call out.
sure.
I loved How to Train Your Dragon. I did not put it in my list because
Hmm.
it is a like a 1-to-1 remake, but I loved the original. There's some remakes I hate, like the King one, and like what was it? Not Cinderella, um, Beauty and the Beast and stuff. But what I
Yeah.
really appreciate about How to Train Your Dragon is they brought back like the original creator, the original director, the original composer. They brought back Gerard Butler as the father. In the
Oh,
sequel, they're
cool.
actually bringing back Kate Blanchett as someone as well. Um, don't want to, the spoilers. But I just love that the heart was still there.
It sounds like it was one of the better live action remakes. So that's cool to
Mhm,
hear.
mhm. Pretty much. Yeah.
Um, cool. Should I do my number 10? Should we
Let's
get into
do
it?
it. Number 10. Give it to me,
Oh
Zach.
man, dude, I'm so curious like how ours compare. I
Hmm.
have one movie in this top 10 which I don't think is in yours, or I'm not even sure you saw the movie. So I'm curious if you have some of those random ones in there too. My number 10 is Wake Up Dead Man, the Knives Out story.
Holy crap, I forgot about that.
Nice. So clearly, I liked it a little more than
I
you
watched
did.
it. Tell me
That's
more.
totally
Tell me
fine.
more. Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of like surprises, this was like I would say like a top three surprise for the past year for 2025. The reason why is because like Daniel Craig doesn't show up until like the second hour of this movie, which is insane if you think about it, because people come to watch this movie for Daniel Craig, but he's not even like the main attraction for the first half of the film. And you can nitpick on like, maybe they went too far in this direction or whatnot, but I thought it was super interesting how much social commentary they put into a Knives Out movie. This is a movie that's usually about, like a mystery with some rich people, and like, you're trying to figure it out while you're watching, and then you really can't, and it's like whatever. But it's cool that for the third movie they actually add in some like real drama. They add in some real social commentary about religion and politics today. And Josh O'Connor, the main character, like the young priest in the film, he does an amazing job in this film, really holding it down as like the innocent but also like guilt-filled priests who like he just can't quite decide if he wants to accept hate and accept that he's a bad person, or just try to always be the good person, even if he's just being a martyr at points in time. He does a really good job in this film. And yeah, like I wasn't the biggest fan of the other Knives Out films, or like they weren't quite like my kind of film, but this one like mixed it up, and I thought it was really impressive. So I put it as number 10.
I completely agree with you. I don't know if I would reach my top 10, but it would definitely be an honorable mention for me. I completely just forgot about it. The first half again is so good, and then when it went back to the typical,
Yeah.
trope of the Knives Out who done it story, I was a little disappointed. I was like, "Oh, I was really enjoying this until Daniel Craig
Yeah.
came in. His charisma got back to me and I was like, "Oh yeah, it's Daniel Craig."
Yeah.
So, yeah, I it's a great movie, and I can see why it would be in your top 10 or anyone's top 10. Just for me, it felt like when it went back to the trope of being Knives Out versus like its original story, which it felt like for the first half, it kind of lost me a little bit. But
that's that's totally fair.
still a great movie though. Still a great movie. All right. Do you want my 10th movie?
Yeah,
I
yeah. Let's
feel
hear
like
it.
we're gonna probably talk about it later, so let me know. Begonia.
Okay. That was number 9. So let's just talk about it
Oh,
now.
let's talk about it. All right.
Yeah,
I thought this was an amazing movie. After watching Poor Things, it might not be as ambitious as Poor Things was, but I think it's a great continuation of his how do you say his name, Lanthimos, his
yeah.
directing. I just love peeking into his brain and seeing what crazy contraption of a movie he makes today, and he knocked it out of the park here. Jesse Plemons as like this conspiracy theorist, like beekeeper person, like I think he did an amazing job, and he has complemented Emma Stone very well. There's a lot of twists and turns in this movie that I won't spoil. I think my biggest recommendation is just going into this movie blind. If you don't know anything about the movie, just go in, have an open mind, and like just enjoy Lanthimos's weird, messed up brain.
That is such a good way to put it. And yeah, I like have it in my notes. It's not as like creative or crazy as Poor Things, but it's a really focused thriller.
Mhm.
And that's also super awesome when directors can like drop one of those just very casually. And this guy makes a lot of movies, so it's cool that this one was like pretty good and pretty focused. And yeah, like I think you're totally right. It's best to go and totally blind. If you haven't seen the movie, maybe just skip ahead 30 seconds. I will just say really quick, I'm a little bit salty I didn't catch the twist. I wish there's like one more clue earlier in the film about the twist. I think everyone else who saw it caught it, but I was so roped in to Jesse Plemons' character about conspiratorial thinking in 2025 that I just totally missed that the twist may have been coming down the pipeline. So that makes me a little bit salty about this film. That's maybe like a small complaint. Like I wish there was like one more breadcrumb early in the film, but besides that, yeah, just Jesse Plemons and Emma Stone do their thing in a focused type thriller.
I will say I also didn't catch the twist, but I don't think
Oh, cool!
it
I feel
really
better now.
affected it much for me. I don't think
Yeah,
it really affected much for me because I it could have gone 50-50, right?
yeah.
Just knowing the director, it could have gone 50-50. If it was any other director, I feel like you would never expect what was to come. Uh, but because Lanthimos' name is on this, I I always it wasn't like as shocking of a twist to me as I thought it would be.
It's cool to watch a movie that has a real twist. Like so many movies today are predictable, or like you just watch a lot of movies, you like pick up on certain themes or tropes. But yeah, this one pulled a fast one on me. I missed it, so I definitely wanted to include it in my top 10.
Nice, nice. Well, got your 9 out of the way. Should I go into mine?
Yeah, go for it.
Sweet. You mentioned it before. Avatar: Fire and Ash.
Nice. Yeah, let's talk about it.
So for me, okay, let's start. Background: I think Avatar: Way of Water was my top movie of the year for whichever year that came out. And
Yeah.
when we watched Marty Supreme together when we were going home, uh, I think I mentioned to you that this year just didn't feel as hyped as I thought it would. And I think it all narrows down to this movie. The first 2 hours are like probably the best in the franchise for me. The Ash people coming in, just changing the entire dynamic of what we think of Pandora. The world building just was amazing. Introducing these the Ash people, we needed that gray area in the in this universe because it felt very black and white originally. The action was top notch. I think this was the best action we've seen in an Avatar movie. I think it's the best CGI action we've seen, period, in movies recently, at least post pandemic. But yeah, look, the finale, it just felt like they were reusing assets from Way of Water. It just felt like a retread of. It just felt like I was watching Way of Water again for the last half of the movie, or
Yeah.
last third of the movie. I think they're saving the volcano and doing like a final battle in the fall, not final, but like a big battle in the volcano for the following movie. But for this one, I feel like they could have tightened it up, made it maybe half an hour less, and made the big finale action scene breaking Sully out. Spoiler, sorry. Um, I feel like that would have if they increased the scope of that breakout scene, I think they could have. It would have been received a lot better. Not that it got received bad. It's in my top 10. It was on your honorable mentions, but and it made around a 1.5 billion. But yeah,
Pretty
sorry.
crazy.
Yeah, that's just how I feel, and that's why it's kind of disappointing to see what is usually the number one movie on the top of my list, and I it would have been if it just had like the level that it had for the first 2 hours of the movie.
Even just rewatching Wave Water in 3D in IMAX, just that is like a top tier movie experience. Even just rewatching the same movie. So even if there's like a lot of stuff that gets recycled, like that's still cool to see. I just wish, like you said, the final like battle was like in a volcano. Like I feel like that was part of a lot of the marketing. It's in the name of the film, Fire and Ash, and there is Fire and Ash. Like we get Rang, who's like a new interesting villain in the movie. But yeah, that's the final battle scene, which just felt like a retread. And like there were good parts of it. Like it was cool seeing like the well people attack the boats, which wasn't a thing in the previous movie. Like there definitely
Yes,
was cool stuff to see, but when you think about what could have been, I think that's why it wasn't higher up in our list.
exactly, exactly. Um, yeah, I mean, still very good, still very good. And yeah,
Yeah,
what is her name? Una Chaplin. She
yeah,
did she did an amazing job. Like
yeah.
he James Cameron knows how to build like complex characters.
Well, what I was gonna say, like, kind of on a similar note, he's able to kind of like in my head recall some like old Hollywood magic with some of these characters. Like these characters are like familiar kind of like motifs and not necessarily tropes, but like ideas that we're familiar with. Like the people that are sitting next to us who watched the movie, like she was saying she cried during the film. Like he's really good at tugging those emotions, those kind of like old Hollywood kind of like feelings of like triumph over evil and
Mhm.
like family first and whatnot. So yeah, he is really good at that.
Yep, yep. All right. Yeah, it feels so sad to put this so low on my list. But Zach, you want to give us? Oh, yeah, Zach, you want to give us your number 8?
Yeah, that's right. My number 8 is Marty Supreme.
Whoa, let's talk about that later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Whoa, I did not expect that to be so low for you. Interesting.
so
Okay,
so, so I kind of disagree with you. I thought there were a lot of good movies this year.
I see.
Honestly, like the top, yeah, the top like 8, I was kind of going back and forth all over the place. And like in a different year, this would be like my number 3 movie. It was a very thin line between number 8 and number 1. No, number 8 and like number 8 and like number like 2 or like or number 3 is just very thin. So this is like not a diss to Mario Supreme. There's just a lot of other interesting movies I saw this year.
Yeah, I was gonna be very shocked with this, but I just realized you're not that far off from me, to be honest.
Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
I guess I shouldn't be like, whoa. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I'll give you my number 8, which I think we're also going to talk about later. Weapons.
We'll talk about it later.
Got you. You want to mention your number 7 then?
Yeah, I feel like we're just like trading picks.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, I had Eddington here, which I think was one of your honorable mentions.
Yep, yep.
Yeah, I can talk about it a little bit more.
Let's do
So
it.
I put it in the top 10. I know the critic, not all critics like this. I think this movie kind of punches on both sides of the political spectrum, and maybe some people didn't like that, some critics didn't like that, whatever. I thought it was a really good movie. It just hits really hard. It is a long movie. Joaquin Phoenix, this guy carries the film. There are other famous actors in this film. There's Emma Stone, there's Austin Butler, there's Pedro Pascal, but this is really at the end of the day a Joaquin Phoenix film. And if you're a fan of Joaquin, then like you definitely have to see this. And I think there's a lot of interesting things this movie says. I think all the political violence in this movie, it kind of like foretells reality, which is like kind of scary. There's an interesting question of like, is this movie a horror movie? Because Ari Aster is like a horror director, and I think in some ways like the reality he depicts in this movie is kind of like a horror landscape, which is like what we're living through. So I thought that was super interesting. And the movie ends with like Joaquin's character becoming kind of like an influencer. And at the end of the day, the city just becomes a data center. And it's like, dang, like that kind of hits really hard. Like that is kind of like what 2025 was. So for all those reasons, I put in my top 10. You kind of like learn a lot about the moment we're going through by watching this film. And there's another movie we'll talk about later, which like kind of like push out of the way for the most 2025 movie of the year. But this one also is pretty good in my head, in my heart.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely not a bad movie. My I'll tell you why it's not on my top 10 because I think
Sure.
you nailed exactly why it should have been on my top 10. Uh, one of the biggest things I would say is one, it's too long. I feel like
Yeah.
there's definitely scenes that could be cut out. I feel like the Pedro Pascal storyline near the end was a little muddled. I feel like certain scenes from that their interactions could have been cut down because this last hour is just top notch, and I'm just like on the edge of my seat. But the second thing is, I think it's just too close to home right now.
Yeah, no, it is super duper close to home.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, not get too deep into it. One of the like subplots of this film is like these horror actors who fly around in private jets, and like um right after the Charlie Kirk killing, there was like a private jet that left the airport nearby in Utah, and I was like, holy cow, that's literally what happened in Eddington. And there was like some speculation. This is literally in the New York Times. Some speculation maybe like the shooter was in the private jet. I don't think he was, but like I read that news and I'm like, dang, that's literally in the movie.
Hmm.
So like,
Hmm.
yeah, it's like super close to home. Probably too close for a lot of people, but
Yeah, I
if you
think
have the
like
patience for a long movie, yeah,
right. I think it's like sometimes it's great. Like again, I think my bigger complaint is the runtime versus like anything else. But when I was watching it, I was just getting so depressed. Like I was like, I think it took me like three sittings to actually finish the movie because it was just like too much for me at that point. I totally understand where you're coming from, and I totally see why it would be in your top 10. It's a great movie. It's executed very well, and you can see where his horror roots are giving him like that creative, not freedom, but like you can see those strategies that you see in like well-made horror movies in this kind of thriller. Um, Speaking of thrillers, my number seven is Warfare.
nice. We'll talk about it later.
Cool. Give me your number
Yeah.
seven. What was that? Was Eddington your number seven?
Yes, I think it was number 7. So now we move on to number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, like I don't know if this is your top 10 or if this is like way down the list for you. I'm not sure. Superman.
Yo, let's go. We matched.
Oh, nice. Yes,
Nice.
finally. Okay, cool. Okay, great. Cool. Good. I just wasn't sure. I'll just go first really quick. It's funny because in 2026, we're all looking at Marvel to see if they can pull off Doomsday and like really like save like that's like superhero franchise. Last year, the test was on DC. It was on James Gunn. Can he actually get lift off on his view and his vision for like the DC universe? And I'd say he nailed it. This is like a really hard character to do well with for many reasons. One, like the common complaint, Superman's just like too overpowered. He's like too like OP, too god to like, have a good conflict or have a good villain. He found a way to make that happen. Second, there's just been a lot of Superman films, even within our lifetime, and before that as well. So there's a lot of things that like you're comparing it to. You're comparing it to like the Zack Snyder movies. You're comparing it to the Christopher Reeve movies. And despite all that, it still stands out on its own. It's still super fresh. There's like social media in this movie. There's allusions maybe to like Ukraine or Israel or like other kinds of conflicts are going on around the world. So really, it felt like a really 2025 movie, even though it's a superhero movie. And yeah, like I thought David Cornett was like a really good Superman, and you could tell he had fun with it, and he passed the test. So that's why it made my top 10.
Yeah, I 100% agree with everything you said. I think the biggest fumble I've ever seen was Disney firing James Gunn before Guardians of the Galaxy 3. And the biggest coup was DC hiring him almost immediately and still
Yeah,
giving him the keys to the castle, even after critical success but commercial bomb of the Suicide Squad. I think
yeah,
they saw his vision. They put trust in him not just to build out one of the most iconic superhero movies of all time, superheroes of all time, but also to give him the keys for the entire DC universe. And he's just knocking it out of the park with every single project he's been doing, whether it be Peacemaker, Creature Commandos. and just building this unified universe and vision that is very different, but also a little similar to what the MCU was doing in the past. It feels like the MCU a little unsanitized. And I think that's exactly
Yeah.
what Guardians of the 3 was still one of my favorite movies of all time. And he's just not stopping. And what I loved about this, as someone who also loves Man of Steel, the director's cut of Batman versus Superman, the Justice League director's cut as well, is that this was the warm hug and the hopeful tone that the DC universe needed after so much cynicism that we've just experienced through the previous universe, which I enjoyed. It's nice to see the vividness and optimism. It's like the exact opposite of how I feel about Eddington, where it's just giving me a little bit of home, hope, and like yeah, and that's why it's in my top 10. It's the battles were all very creative. You see how Clark's first priority is to save people over defeating the enemy is something we haven't seen from Superman in a long time. I loved the relationship between Rachel Brosnahan and Cornswet. I think they showed a real couple. They showed them arguing and challenging each other versus just being a damsel in distress. I think without Lois, they would never have even solved anything. I love the power they gave to journalism in the movie that I feel like is very also, you know, you wouldn't see that in a cynical uh, version of this movie at all. My only minor complaint is that it just was too short for me. I feel like I would have loved maybe, 5 minutes of action more here or 5 minutes more like something here, but that's probably because I enjoyed it so much that I just wanted more of it.
And those are just such good points. I mean, even the color palette, which is so bright and optimistic in comparison to the very dark, cynical, like Zack Snyder and like other kinds of Batman Superman movies, which it felt like it was like always nighttime. It felt almost like Gotham-esque in those films. So it was definitely a good switch for this one.
Yes, everything felt like Gotham in the previous
Yeah,
universe. Like whether you're in
yeah,
Atlantis, whether you're in Themyscira, Metropolis, everything was
exactly,
Gotham. Uh, but yeah,
exactly.
that was my 6-2. So you want to go on to your number 5?
Number 5, we have Warfare.
Let's go it. What'd you rank
Yeah,
it?
yeah. That was your honorable mention, or where did you rank
Number
it?
7.
Number 7. Okay, cool. Very close.
Yep.
To me, this is a movie that takes noise and sound very seriously and in a very cool way. And it starts from the opening scene. You get this like really like upbeat like dance music that's going on. And it's funny, like I was at a wedding this past weekend. There's like some dance music, and I'm like, this reminds me of the beginning of Warfare. Because like you just remember that scene and basically see a bunch of soldiers just getting hyped before they have to go through a mission. And that leads into another moment of noise, which is a IED or a bomb just going off, and the movie just lets you sit with that shock. It's almost like a flash grenade went off for like a couple seconds, and then they have to assess the aftermath and just get out alive. And there's other noises of like people just trying to be alive and phoning for help, and it definitely leaves a mark when you hear like the fighter planes do a show of force and like shake the buildings and shake down the neighborhood. So yeah, watching this movie in a theater with a really good sound system is like definitely the way to watch this. If you like watch it at home, watch it at home theater or surround sound.
Mhm.
This is a movie that takes, like I said, noise and sound seriously to show war, which is like also a hard thing to do to like make a movie in this genre because there have been so many war films. It's hard to like produce something that's new. And this one, instead of like adding in like a deep narrative or something sentimental like Saving Private Ryan or whatever.
Yep.
It's really just about like a quasi true story about of soldiers trying to get out of a war zone in Iraq and just showing that one scene. It's not showing them when they go home or before they get to like the actual warplane or whatever. It's just that one block in Iraq, and so or whatever Middle Eastern country it took place in. So yeah, it's hard to do something unique in this genre. So I give them credits for that. And obviously, watching Alex Garland do anything is like a treat. And like you said, like a year ago, kind of being learn from Civil War, which is more of like a narrative, informed the creation of this movie. It's like a pure distilled version of Warfare made into film. So very easy top 10 film for the year for me.
I 100% agree, especially about the sound design. I think my highlight is that IED bomb going off. And then you can see how it goes to each POV of like a soldier. And
Yeah.
one's ringing, one's very intense, one's not so intense, like the further and further you get out. And that attention to detail is just unmatched that I don't see from many other directors. It really just felt like we were a fly in the wall of this like conflict in a much larger war, and like just seeing what happens to soldiers in a day-to-day basis and what they have to deal with, the stress that they go through. And yeah, it's just a testament to the directors, right? There's two directors for this.
The two
uh
directors, yeah,
yeah.
Raymond Mendoza and Alex Garland. And Raymond Mendoza is like the I'm pretty sure it's a rock war veteran.
It felt like we were in the room with them, especially if you're watching it in theaters. It's like, oh, what's going on?
Yeah.
Incredible movie. Not really much like political subtext or anything like that. It's just,
Nope.
hey, look at what war can be, and this is some of the worst of it. Huge credit to the actors too. Will Poulter was really good in
Yeah.
it. You could
Yeah. He
see,
is.
yeah, like you could see how some people can just break down during the movie. You think they're in charge, but something like that happens, and you can't even blame him. It's just, can you imagine that happening to you? What would you do during that period?
The guy from Shogun, I forget his name, is like one of the main characters in this film. Um,
Didn't watch
Cosmo
Shogun,
Jarvis.
but I
Yeah,
have
yeah. No,
had it on my backlog for so long.
don't worry. I got through 2 episodes and stopped. I know a lot of people like that show. I thought it was kind of boring to start, but anyways, we saw Shogun. Like the main actor is in this movie as well. There's some good
Gotcha,
actors in
gotcha.
here. Yeah,
Great movie, great movie.
yeah,
Alrighty. So that was your top five.
yeah. That's right.
All right. My number five is Marty Supreme.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. We watched this together. It was a
Yeah.
great, great movie. I think Timothy Chalamet has a extraordinary chance to win Best Actor. You don't know what Oscars is going to do, but he elevated this movie to another level. And very funny story. We're watching this movie, me and Zach, and there comes a certain point. I whisper to Zach, bro, is this a true story or not? Because this is getting
LOL.
way out there. This is getting way out there at this point. I genuinely thought this was a true story about like some famous ping pong player, table tennis player. Guess not. Do not expect that. I. Zach, please continue. Tell me what you thought of this
No, like
movie.
when this movie is Timothy Chalamet just trying to weasel out of another situation he's in, and then he goes to play ping pong, and then this movie hits it with like a track from the '80s. Like that's when this movie is like finger licking good, and that's like some of the best minutes or like scenes of the year are definitely in this film, 100%.
If you were to just walk into this movie in the middle of it, you would think this was like a bank heist. It's a great movie, top five, obviously. It felt like a weaker version of Uncut Gems. I don't know if you felt the same way or not.
Yeah, plus 100. I think the scenes where it's like violent and chaotic, it felt so much Uncut Gems. That's tough because Uncut Gems is like one of my favorite movies the past decade. So it's just a hard comparison to make. Like if I want to watch Uncut Gems, I'll just watch that movie. So I kind of wish that like maybe those parts were like a little more toned down or massaged a different way. Because the other parts where, again, he's just like being funny or weaseling out of a situation, those are just so good. So I wish those like shined a little bit more. Like I remember the first time I watched it, it definitely felt like they were spending too much time on like the dog subplot. It's like, why are we going back to this house? Like, why are we going to get this dog? Why is like everyone shooting each other? I think those are scenes where I was like, this is getting a little too deep into like Uncut Gems territory, or just like Josh Safdie like having fun, but like maybe at the cost of like the overall cohesiveness of the movie.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a perfect film. It's not, you put it number five, put number seven, so like still top 10, not quite number one. I was hoping maybe it'd be like maybe like a top three movie of the year for me. It wasn't quite that, but still just so much fun to watch. And like you said, Oscar watch definitely for Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah. It's weird because I've had this number five. And the more I'm talking about this with you, the more I'm leaning towards lowering this.
Hmm.
to where you had it. To be honest, I don't know.
It's a high bar match to try and meet. And yeah, Uncut Gems, I love watching it with people who haven't seen it before because it's so out there with the chaos and whatnot, with the actor who is not normally in that situation. So that's
Mhm.
a really fun movie to rewatch. And yeah, that's just like one of the best. So it's hard to compare it to.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Alrighty. Well, what's your number five? Or was that, or was Warfare your number five?
Yeah, so now it's time for number four.
Let's do it.
Oh man, this might be kind of low. I don't know where you rank this movie. One battle after another.
It's literally right after. I have it at
Okay,
three.
cool. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool, cool,
We
cool.
can
Okay.
talk about it in, I guess, a little
Okay.
bit. For me, my number four is Life of Chuck.
Wow. Okay, this is like the curveball.
I think Mike Flanagan is one of the best directors of modern the 2020s, 2010s. He's been stuck at Netflix, but he's been dropping banger after banger at Netflix with Midnight Mass, Haunting in Hill House, The Fall of House Usher, which is great that he made that because I think that's where he built the relationship with Luke Skywalker. They have like a three act structure with this movie, and it's just going through what do you see the life of Chuck. But there's so many twists and turns. But the acting is beautiful. You're gonna be crying for like at least two of those acts, and there's just so much emotional weight in this movie. I don't know if you've noticed, Mike Flanagan loves his monologues, and the monologues in this absolutely slap. And I think that's why I didn't do so well because it's extremely hard to show what this movie is actually about without saying, yeah, it's just about the life of Chuck. Um, and I can't say anything else. I literally can't say anything else. This is the same. This is the same recommendation I have to go with Begonia with, but in a completely different way. Where just go into this
Hmm.
blind and see what you think. Tom Hiddleston acts his socks off. It's a very Eddington situation where you see him on all the posters for like, marketing and everything, but he's actually in it for a short period of time. Okay, so you see young Chuck, you see adult Chuck, you see a lot older Chuck. And through each act, they tell a very, very different story, personifying this person's life. And it also makes sense why their marketing team probably was bashing their head against the wall, like, how do we market this movie? Because yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough because I don't think I got a wide release or like something weird like that. Where like I think it was in some theaters, but not all theaters, and so if, I don't think enough people saw it.
I watched this in 2025, but when I was going on Letterboxd, and it was listed as 2024, so I'm guessing they had like a limited
Yeah,
one in 2024 and then a wide one in 2025, possibly. And
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Mark Hamill did a great job. Tom Hiddleston did a great job. I think
Okay.
did Mark Hamill get nominated for this? I'm not sure. I don't think so.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah.
He did a brilliant job.
That was a cool surprise. I didn't see that one, but that's a good recommendation, good reminder to go check it out. But anyways, yeah.
um, do you want me to tell you my next one so then you can talk about it? My next movie is One Battle After Another.
Yeah, yeah, cool if I like give
Yeah,
some quick thoughts.
do it.
First of all, I gotta say this is a very good movie. I saw it. It feels weird not putting it number one or number two, just because you've probably seen the hype. It's probably going to win Best Picture. I saw it twice in theaters. If this was like re-ranking the best 10 ensembles for a film, this would probably be number one. This is a crazy cast, and they're hitting all cylinders. If we were doing the top 10 soundtracks, this would probably be number one. The Johnny Greenwood soundtrack is amazing. It's like awesome, like study music or like think intensely music. There's some real bangers here. Yeah, definitely go check out the soundtrack as like a side recommendation, like while you're working or whatever. It's really good. Um, yeah, I will say before we get to like what is good, I will say personally, I didn't find it to be like as thrilling as other people found it to be. Like, there's one scene where the daughter character is doing a blood test to see if she's the daughter of Sean Penn's character, And I was like reading a lot of people who were like, oh, like I wasn't sure if she was going to like escape that scene alive, and I was like, I didn't feel that way at all. Like there, like it didn't necessarily build a tension for me. Or like there's a final scene where, oh, is the daughter going to kill Leo's character? And personally, I was like, oh, I don't think that's going to happen. Like, why would Leo die?
Mhm, mhm.
Especially at the end. So
I
like
see.
I think for some other people, like this is a super tense, super like high octane, thrilling film. I'm not sure quite it was quite that for me, but nonetheless, extremely well made. The most 2025 movie last year of the year, in the sense that like I think Eddington had that crown for a month, and then this movie just like shoved it right out of the way with the reality and world that Paul Thomas Anderson creates in this film. It's cool to see Leo still like on his like nth film, just like still like at the forefront of like this genre of this like medium of art, making some of the best films out there. Um, yeah, I have more to say. I have more thoughts, but Zaran, I want to let you take it away.
I think Leo deserves another Oscar for this movie. I
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Timothy Chalamet did an incredible job, and I think it's like very neck and neck. But I think this is one of his best performances I've seen in a very long time. And Sean Penn was just as good. He was so good in this
Yeah.
movie. What was the name? Lockjaw. Just
Yeah.
it's just a balance. This is PTA's like signature, right? Like make extremely serious scenes and then funny black comedy situations as well. Like just balancing the both of them. He does it so well that I'm laughing 1 second and on the edge of my seat the next. Just this is I think his most expensive movie to make. One thing I will highlight is the final chase. I think they filmed it with a uh, it's called like VistaVision,
Yeah. This division. Yep.
and that car chase was so tense. I
That
did
was
not
pretty
have
cool.
yeah I did not have the same tension with the blood test part or the
Yeah.
daughter shooting Leo part,
That's
but the
fair.
way
That's
like
fair.
the cars came in and out, like I never thought a straight road would ever be so tense for me in my life, especially when they're so far away. It's just a very technically well made movie with a lot of heart from PTA, and like you said, like it's bringing up the real world, but I think I can definitely rewatch this more than I can Eddington.
100%. And Leo, he's like working on a character. He started off with Killers of the Flower Moon, this kind of like adult loser character, like this kind of like clumsy, kind of like bumbling kind of guy. Very different from like Wolf of Wall Street or some of the other characters he's played throughout his career. So it's cool to see him like build on that, to, like refine it, and like you said, maybe give like an Oscar worthy performance in this movie. Benicio del Toro is like really good in this film. He's like funny. He has some like really awesome lines. So when you say like this is an awesome ensemble, like that's what I'm talking about. It's like you mentioned like Sean Penn, Leo, a bunch of other people. You didn't mention Benicio. Like he's also like so good in this film.
Yes.
There's just a lot of people giving like hitting on all cylinders for acting. So that's pretty hard to find.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. Just an amazing movie, and I think it's a testament to this year that it's only number three for me, number four for you. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And again, I feel almost guilty. I feel like I had like going away to justify that because it is such a strong film. Um, yeah, for all the reasons we said.
Yep. Yep. So that was my number three. I think you didn't do your number three, right?
Yeah. So my number three, and this is the one which I don't know if you've even heard of or saw. It's called No Other Choice. It's a South Korean film.
Nice. Let's
So
talk
this
about
is
it.
the yeah. Let's talk about
Oh,
it.
let's say
So
every before anything, every
yeah.
year there's one movie I know that I've never heard of before, and it's gonna be in your top 10. This is
That's
it.
how we
This is it.
do.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah.
I
There's
love it.
one like indie or art house film that sneaks in somehow.
Yep, yep.
Um, Director of this movie, Park Chan Wook. He's the same director as Old Boy and The Handmaiden. So this guy has made some like pretty heavy hitters in his career. He made a movie a couple years ago called I think The Passenger, which like I didn't really like. It wasn't that great. This one's very different though. This one he's like not trying to like imitate another style, or he's not trying to like do a specific thing. He's just having a lot of fun. And sometimes it's just really cool to watch a talented director just be funny and do his thing. And what this movie is about, the main character is the actor is the bad guy in Squid Games. So the guy with like the
Yes.
black mask. is that actor. He's the main character in this film. He is a worker at a wood paper refinery. And what happens is like an American company buys his factory and lays everyone off. And so for the first time in many decades, he has to find a new job. And one thing he realizes that like everyone else that he worked with is now his competition for any given open position. So to make it easier, he starts killing the other people, which is like kind of insane and crazy. As you might imagine, there's a ton of shenanigans that arise from that aspect of the film, and that's the main part of the film. Is like he goes from like a factory worker to being an assassin just to try and get a job again, which is like his main goal. Along that way, like yeah, like there are some really funny scenes. There's some of the best slapstick drama and comedy I've seen since like Wolf of Wall Street in this film. It's not quite at Wolf of Wall Street level of craziness, but like it kind of gets towards there in some scenes, which is like really cool to see just how crazy it gets. And so it's fun to see a director just try and just go crazy and see like what happens. Um, some people didn't like that. Some people like wanted to be a more focused like narrative and just have like the storyline like evolve instead of the director just like having fun with scenes. We were talking to a friend, Edward, who said, yeah, like every like scene where someone dies just takes a long time, which is fine. I think that's a fair complaint, but I actually like that. I like that he's like not in a rush to like get anything done. He's just like milking every scene for what it's worth and like what his vision is and what comedy he wants to inject. So yeah, this movie's number 3 for me. It wasn't nominated for any awards, apparently because like the Academy hates this director. He there was a strike a couple years ago, like the screenwriter strike, and he
Yeah.
like broke the strike or something, and
Wow.
so now he's like blackballed from like winning awards, which makes sense. Like I totally get it. But it was like just the art itself, like this for me was pretty fun to watch.
What would you rank this in amongst the director's movies?
Probably number 3,
Oh,
behind Handmaiden and Old Boy. But like those movies are so OP. It's like kind of even like it's like not a bad 3. It's like a good 3.
I haven't
And
watched The
like this
Handmaiden either.
movie,
So
that one is also so good. I would maybe even I should rewatch it. I've only seen it once. I would
mhm.
maybe even put it ahead of Parasite. It's like very close. It's like that good.
Whoa, hoo, hoo. Okay, okay,
Yeah. We should episode on that sometime.
definitely, definitely,
Um,
very
and
down.
yeah, this movie is like not as good as like Wolf of Wall Street. I think Wolf of Wall Street is like a better version of this movie, but it's still fun to watch all the
Mhm.
physical comedy from a dramatic star. Like the actor in this film, he's kind of like the Leo of South Korea to like some extent. So
Got it, got it. No, he's great in
yeah,
Squid Game, so it makes
yeah,
sense.
exactly.
Yeah, sweet. All right, that was your number
That
three.
was my number. Whoops, that was my number 3.
Number three. All right,
Yeah,
all right. I guess we're just switching it around. I'll do my number two then.
yeah.
Um, I think this will decide whether we have the same number one or not. My number two is 28 years later.
Okay,
All
okay. That
right.
was not my number 2.
Okay. Okay. No, no, no. Because I don't know what your number. Yeah. So then we might have the same number one. We'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
I think Danny Boyle, when 28 Days Later came out many, many, many moons ago, reinvented the zombie genre with his execution with Killian Murphy. I think it's one of a kind doing the found footage. He did the opening scene of 28 Weeks Later and then handed it off to another director. And then in this movie, they kind of like walk back, especially what happens at the end of 28 Weeks Later. Basically, at the end of 28 Weeks, the zombies escape the UK and invade continental Europe. But here in 28 years later, they kind of like he kind of like pish poshes that away. He's like, yeah, they fought him back. So this is 28 years later, and the UK is basically blockaded from the rest of the entire world, and there's one island like off of the UK where our main characters are. Basically, it's a amazing coming of age story. Does a lot of Danny Boyle does Danny Boyle things where he takes a lot of creative liberties. Two highlights I'll give you is like when they're going on this coming of age story, they're marching, and then all of a sudden there's just like this very intense, almost haunting Inception style music that starts playing, and then there's flashbacks to like old wars of people marching, dying, and an incredibly one of a kind way and very surreal direction that Danny Boyle has taken this. You see children marching to like the mainland. It basically feels like a dark fantasy versus just being like a typical zombie movie. It's a beautiful coming of age story. I think Aaron Taylor Johnson did a brilliant job. The son,
Mm,
the kid, I think you'll definitely see him again because he did a kick ass job. Probably in the second one. I still haven't seen it actually, The Bone Temple.
yeah.
Ray Fiennes, or now his name's Ralph because he didn't win the Oscar. Callback to Conan's joke. He plays a role that I've never seen him try to play before in his life, and from like the promotional like stuff, it feels like you'd think he's some crazy maniacal guy, but he's very wholesome, but also still very crazy and maniacal. So yeah, I think this might be Danny Boyle's best movie personally. Uh,
Wow.
it's a very divisive movie though, so it's very weird to see this at number two for me. But it just hit very close to home for twists and turns. So I'm looking forward to this new trilogy. Unfortunately, it looks like this box office is not doing so well. So I'd say please go watch it. It is a brilliant, like great job. It's on Netflix right now. So yeah, that's my number two.
Amazing. And yeah, the movie that's coming out soon, that's Bone Temple, right?
It already came out. Yeah.
Oh, dang, it already came out.
Yeah.
Okay.
It
Came
also did not do
out.
well. I think that was directed by Nia
Oh,
DaCosta, who did
yes, right.
Marvels. And from what I've heard, the reviews have been very good for it. The only reason it's not done well in box office is because a lot of people didn't like this first one, 28 years later.
I see.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah. It says in Wikipedia it underperformed at the box office.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, yep.
Okay. I thought it was coming out in February. I didn't realize it's already been out for a month.
Yeah, it's been out for a very long time. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's still in theaters in some places. That's interesting to
I have
see.
to go watch it before it leaves.
Yeah. It's at AMC Field 7.
Ooh, okay,
Um,
okay. You down?
yeah. Yeah. I am down.
You could probably finish the first. The first one's on Netflix, so I'm down to go watch it.
Okay. Cool. Cool.
Let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
do it.
I need to watch that film and also Life of Chuck.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. Those are
Definitely
two
watch.
really good recommendations.
True, true. Watch 28 Years Later so we can watch it in theaters on time, and
Okay.
then
Cool.
we'll watch The Bone Temple. All
Okay.
right, Zach.
Homework received.
Yes,
Okay.
sir. Basically, give me your back to back, two and one.
These two, I went back and forth. Like even right before like we recorded, I was like, let me just switch it up one more time. Just like how I felt and like the statement I wanted to make with this list. My number two is Sinners. My number one is
Ooh,
Weapons.
damn!
Yeah,
That's
yeah. Hot take.
big.
Yeah,
That's
spicy.
big.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Um. All right. So then
Where
let
to
me.
even start?
Yeah, I'll go
Yeah.
because Sinners is number one for me.
Yeah,
Um.
yeah.
I think this is the most in depth, layered film that I've watched over the past 5 years. And I've rewatched this
Wow.
movie three times, and I've enjoyed it even more every single time I watched it. Um, it's just honestly cinematic, just magic. That middle sequence, the music scene where they say like it transcends reality, music transcends reality, transcends time, and like summoning everything was absolutely breathtaking and one of the best scenes I've watched in a movie period over the past maybe 5 to 10 years at least. I think Michael B. Jordan, his performance, dual performance with Smoke and
Yeah.
Stack, is probably his career best. He doesn't just distinguish this through like his dialogue, but like you can see like difference in posture. You can see Smoke is carrying all this weight, all this burden on him, and Stack is a lot more laid back. And love like the show don't tell storytelling in this, where I think one of the highlights is the street scene, and you can see how they show like the Jim Crow era as well as introducing every single character and what they do, not by like going like, oh, this is him, he does X, Y, and Z. You see it in action, and that's something that I took for granted before all these Netflix movies. I don't know if you saw the interview for the Rip that Matt Damon did, where Netflix was telling us like, hey, can you repeat some of these stuff more, because a lot of the time like people are just on their phones and they're not actually paying attention. um, and then I love the
Yeah.
subtext with the vampires that they have. I'll let you continue. moving forward. What did you like about the movie?
Yeah, yeah. I was just gonna say, like, I saw the Matt Damon Ben Affleck interview on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about how, like, oh yeah, Netflix, you always start the action scene to get people's attention and make sure to say things over and over again. And yeah, one thing I'll say about this movie, which I was talking to a friend this past week about Michael B. Jordan. This is someone who could be making Creed 4 or 5. He could be making another Marvel movie. The fact that he took time to make Sinners is like such a gift and so awesome. Because, like you said, he does a career best here. It's so great Michael B. Jordan took time out to make this film. It's like everything you said, it's also like he's incorporating like not just historical African American music. It's also like the Irish jig. It's also like folk music. It's also like jazz music. That final scene after the movie is over, or after like the main part of the movie is over,
Yep.
and then like it's like a period drama, and then a fun horror movie on top of that.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it's not like preachy or like super serious. It is that, but then you also get kind of a classic horror movie in it as well. So this is
Yes.
like a huge like 5 for 1 kind of movie. Like you say, you don't get many movies like this. This is maybe like a once a decade kind of treat. So I totally
Yes.
agree with that.
Yep. Also, special shout out to Miles Catan. I think this was his first time acting, and he did a crazy job as the
Right.
main actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone in the ensemble was great. Everyone brought their A game for the movie. Speaking of political subtext and stuff, the use of like the Irish immigrants show that it's not just about like fully race, but it's like a
Yeah.
nice metaphor for cultural assimilation. They're a hive mind, right? They know everything that's going on, and like these vampires are kind of like the death of that individuality, sucking dry like the local black culture from the community.
Yeah, exactly. And like we first see the vampires, they are fleeing from, I think, like Native American like hunters.
Yes,
So you
yes,
get kind of the subtext like, oh, like they know what's happening, and then we're about to find out.
yep, yep,
That's
yep,
definitely totally true. Yeah.
100%. I now really want to hear your thoughts of weapons and why this is over Sinners.
Oh man, it's just this movie brought me joy in a way that I think a lot of movies last year brought me joy. Sinners brought me a lot of joy watching that. One Battle After Another brought me a lot of joy. But like the fact that this was also a surprise, like I didn't really know this movie was coming out. When I saw it, like it was like a week after I had heard it even existed. It wasn't like on my radar or anything. But the fact that this was like such a good, funny movie with really good casting, you get the really good horror that Zach Krieger brings, and then also just like an amazing climax. This brought like tears to my eyes seeing how the kids take down the witch. It just kind of like had it all like in one movie, and just made me feel so good. I had to put it number one. Some other things I'll say like don't downplay the humor. Like the officer subplot is like really funny when he's
Yes.
going after like the junkies in town. He gets hit with the needles. The fact that like Zach Krieger takes the time to like include that into what's nominally a horror movie is something that's like really special. That the all different storylines that come into play. There's like a gay couple, and one half of the gay couple is principal who becomes like a vampire almost. That's pretty special. Josh Brolin does a good job as like the more austere conservative dad who's just trying to find his son.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then even after he finds him, like his son is like still in like a strange altered state, and we're trying to figure out if his son will ever like really be back. And then like Amy Madigan is like the perfect villain witch, and she comes in, she's like super small, like you don't think she's going to be evil villain, but Zach Krieger somehow makes it happen. There's that scene we talked about that's like pure evil where she's controlling the parents in front of the kids. This movie does a really good job with the kids as characters in the film, giving them a voice and ultimately allowing them to triumph at the very end. It was just such a treat, such a good surprise. I had to put it number one.
yeah. I totally see. I kind of telegraphed this when I was doing mine, especially when we talked about it during the weapons review. Um,
Yeah,
this is definitely one of the best movie theater experiences I've had, at least for a horror movie, since I watched The Conjuring in theaters. People were laughing,
yeah,
people were
yeah.
screaming of like being scared. Like this was truly one of those things where it's like I love that I watched this in a packed movie theater. A very unorthodox number one, I would say, but totally brilliant, and I see why you have it there for sure. It's in
Yeah,
my
and
top
just
10.
building off of that, yeah. When Justin Long appears in this movie, I remember my theater was like, "Hey, it's him," because we all saw Barbarian. He's like one of the main characters there. So
Yep.
there's definitely a lot of love for this film for sure.
Yeah. I think Zach Kreger has a amazing career ahead of him at this point. Going from Whitest Kids You Know, uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
and,
there's
and the,
something about it, right?
yeah,
Like all these
yeah.
like comedy directors moving to horror and then eventually making like a Oscar-winning movie.
Yeah. Last thing I'll say about Weapons, it's
Mhm.
so cool that this is a movie where Zach Krieger got a bigger budget, got some star power, and then did something special.
Yep.
So it wasn't the case where he took the money and that made the product worse. It actually made it better. So that was super cool.
Awesome. It's really funny because I'm actually rewatching Resident Evil now, and
Oh,
replaying like Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, and Resident Evil 4 in prep for like the new game that's going to be coming out. Um, and I'm so excited to see his take on it because they've always been very campy movies, but crappy campy movies. Besides the first one, I actually really enjoyed the first one. So I feel like he's like the perfect director for the Resident Evil movies coming up now. And that's going to be probably his big, franchise now. I hope so, at least.
yeah. I think Weapons was like a surprise hit at the box office. So if you can like toss some like reliable IP at that, then that's pure
Yes,
magic,
yes.
I'm sure.
That's how you do it. That's the pipeline, right? Like you get the indie
Yeah.
director, then give him all the money in the world and see if what he can do with it. That's what happened with Sinners, right?
I think I just don't put horror movies in the category as like, oh, this is like flagship Hollywood. But in
Hmm.
reality, I think last year for me, like a movie like Weapons proved that horror movies can definitely be like a flagship for the whole industry. So that definitely changed my mind.
Yes. You know what?
Yeah. In addition
I
to Sinners, Sinners is also a horror movie.
100%. This is very cool to see because both of us have like our top 2 to 3 movies being like horror or zombie movies, which I think it legitimizes what, like, hopefully we see this being more legitimized in the Oscars because one of the biggest robberies that I know in the Oscars was Toni Collette not getting nominated for Best Actress for Hereditary. As we get older and like the audience changes, especially the award giving audience changes, we'll see a lot more recognition for horror movies. So I think seeing both of our top tens, we have Sin. You want to do like a quick recap of our top 10?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So for me, it was number 10, Begonia. Number 9, Avatar. Number 8, Weapons. Number 7, Warfare. Number 6, Superman. Number 5, Marty Supreme. Number 4, Life of Chuck. Number 3, One Battle After Another. Number 2, 28 Years Later. And number 1, Sinners.
I had number 10, Wake Up Dead Man. Number 9, Begonia. Number 8, Marty Supreme. 7, Eddington. 6 was Superman. 5 was Warfare. 4 was One Battle After Another. 3 was No Other Choice. 2 was Sinners. Number 1, Weapons.
Damn. So if we're looking at this, I have 4 horror movies and you have 3, right? Begonia. Would you
Yeah,
compare?
Begonia.
Yeah.
Eddington is like maybe horror-ish.
Yeah. Well, horror director.
Yeah,
There you go.
horror director.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, 4 or 5.
I think my take of 2025 is we are starting to see horror come to the mainstream and hit the Oscars, hit the Golden Globes. We're seeing that with Sinners. Um, we're seeing that with Begonia. We're seeing that with Weapons. So very cool to see. We're seeing it with the Bus Stop Boys, probably the most prestigious awards of all time.
Yeah, yeah. We're basically Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert, basically the greatest critics in the country.
Very true. Very true. I don't
Yeah.
even know why I'm laughing. I was laughing at something completely different, obviously. Oh man, Zach, any takes from you for 2025?
I thought it was a solid year. I mean, there was some like misses or like quasi misses, like Avatar,
Mhm.
but for every like quasi miss, you got a Sinners, you got a Weapons, you got a One Battle After Another. So, I think Yeah, a lot of the big hitters showed up, and some of the new ones did a good job too.
Think this is the year of the original IP?
Ooh, it was kind of because some of the Marvel movies didn't really hit. This is the first year in many years, actually, that like Marvel movies weren't like the center of the conversation. Like obviously we watched Fantastic Four. We didn't even mention Thunderbolts at all in this conversation,
Completely
which is
forgot.
kind of crazy because
Yeah.
those are the two flagship Marvel films. So I think you take away Marvel, and then it's interesting to see like what takes its place. And yeah, we saw some really awesome horror movies. I think Disney also did really well, like Zootopia and Lilo and Stitch. Like also like made a lot, so want to give a shout out to them as well.
All right.
But yeah,
Lost
I think horror
all about
movies is a
this.
big takeaway. Yeah,
I mean, I love Zootopia too. Picked it high for a reason.
yeah, yeah. There you go. Yeah, that like you could have just chosen that and would have won our draft by itself, basically. The fact they had
I didn't even
Avatar is
need
just a
Avatar. I
bonus.
think I
Yeah,
don't
you
think I
didn't need it
needed
at
it.
all. You just need Zootopia.
Oh man. Spoilers, spoilers. But
Right.
yeah, wow. Year of the original IP and year of horror.
Yeah, I'm looking at my top 10. The only sequel, well, there's like two sequels. There's like Superman and then Wake Up Dead Man. But like Wake Up Dead Man's like weird. It's like not long running IP. It's just like the third in like this like Netflix IP.
Right, right,
So
right.
yeah, I would say definitely it was original IP kind of year.
Yeah, I only have two too. I only have Avatar and Superman.
Yeah, precisely.
Awesome. Look at that. Look at that. All right, Zach. Anything else?
Like and subscribe if you got this far, and stay tuned for maybe a draft episode and some other maybe like a 28 years later episode at some point.
Let's go. Yes.
Yeah, Bone
And
Temple. Yeah.
draft episode's gonna be fun. I think
Oh yeah.
there's a coronation that day, right? So I think something like
You may
that.
have a trophy to show off to like the rest of us.
Yeah,
That may be the case.
I may.
It's just crazy. It wasn't even close. Like you like lapped us.
It's okay. It's okay. You know what? You. I don't even know what to say. I'll have my acceptance speech ready next week.
Amazing.
So stay. So subscribe and like and be sure to see it. Click that bell so you got notified when our draft goes up.